Well, welcome everyone. Thanks, JD, and I'll jump on that and start moving through. I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we're on today, and pay my respects to Uncle Cole Walker and all other elders, past, present, and emerging from the Yorta Yorta. So thank you for having us here today. Welcome everyone to the to Murray Codference. It's a fantastic day, and there's going to be so many exciting things. I have to say. I tried to hold that cod, as you might have noticed, as close to the camera as possible. It's actually about 15 centimetres long, that cod. And I caught it on a yabby. But anyway, we're going to have a lot of fun today. It's wonderful to be here. I'd like to acknowledge a couple of other people as well. Gail Owen, Sophie Harris, Yorick Piper, Graham Deere, David Shire and Rebecca Edwards, if they're here. They're all the board of the Victorian Fisheries Authority, and we're an independent authority with a board now, and you'll see some photos later on. Our board not only are good administrators in terms of making sure that our budget's okay and we're working within all the boundaries we should as an independent authority, they also love rolling up their sleeves and getting out there and really being part of the authority, so it's fantastic. Just a couple of other people I'd really like to acknowledge who are here today. Rob Loach, the chair of VR Fish, Mike Burgess, the CEO of VR Fish, Trelly, everyone knows Trelly, quite famous. All our WRF leaders, so you'll have seen a lot of our WRF leaders, so women in recreational fishing leaders in blue t-shirts. We're leading the country in getting women into fishing, and it's because it's women empowering other women. And the moment we sort of stepped out of it as blokes and let women take the lead in terms of getting women involved in fishing, it's really just blossomed and it's been fantastic. Tim Kermy from Native Fish Australia, John Cahill, famous cod fisherman who's going to show us some stuff later. John's a bit of a fishing legend. Wally Cubbon from the Ngambly Angling Club. Sam Consolo, who JD mentioned, has put that wonderful lure together. Paul and Bailey Thomas, who are great fishers, and Jeff Kramer. If I did leave you out, if you could just raise your hand now, that'd be great. Okay, yep, all right, it's a tough crowd. All right, good. So we've got a really exciting day ahead of us in terms of some of the information that you're going to see and learn about in terms of Murray Cod today. And you know, I love this conference. I just want to see a show of hands. Who went to the Trout Conference in Mansfield a couple of weeks ago? All right, probably too many of you for me to start talking about how much I love cod then. Right. So we've held in the last few weeks, we've held a snapper conference, we've held a trout conference, and now we're holding a cod conference, which we do each year now, and we don't take these things for granted. We know there are always challenges with the Mulwala Cod Classic and opening weekends, but the weather gods were kind to us, and we've got great weather, and we've got a good turnout today. But it's for us as an authority, it's really engaging and connecting all the time. We are never going to be an authority that engages and connects just via computers and via what you read in papers. We're always going to get out there and talk directly with people. And it's what we want to continue doing. Just another show of hands. Who in this room's been fishing for cod or started in the last 5 years? Okay, that's not bad. It's probably about a third of the room. 10 years? All right. Okay, it's 20? 40? Yeah, okay, that's good. So for those of you, because you're looking forward, I reckon about half the room have been fishing for Murray Cod for the last 40 years, and my mum and dad are here, and I started fishing for cod when I was about 6 years old, and I'm 34 now, so it's been a long time. Probably had a couple more years on that. But it's been a long time, and why I mention that is the people that have been fishing for 5 years or less. I mean, these are the golden days of cod fishing in Victoria, and I know we've had some blackwater challenges in New South Wales and some other challenges with trout. But in Victoria, we've been fortunate to a lot of in a lot of areas in terms of how our fishery is performing. And Robbie Alexander spoke a couple of years ago about when kids now go and catch 4 or 5 cod of an evening off a sandbar on the broken or the ovens and complain that they didn't get anything over a metre. Like going back, those people who've been fishing for cod for 40 years will go 2 weeks on a river catching tons and tons of carp and not catching a single cod. So we're very, very lucky at where we're at. And I just want to let people know today, one of the things that we're really working on is expanding cod fishing, and not just through stocking. We're going to be stocking cod or creating new fisheries for cod in places like Malmesbury Reservoir, Lauriston, Upper Colaburn Reservoir, Barker's Reservoir, where we put 200 40 to 50 centimetre cod in last year. That's not a big res. Melton, Casey Fields, Lilydale, Ferntree Gully, Carcarook. So these are all places that haven't had cod stock previously that we're going to be bringing to the people that live in and around those waters, the cod fishing experience, surface lures, spinner baits, a yabby, a barty grub. So we're sort of moving past that point where we just stock trout during the winter, and then over summer, some of these waterways become quite marginal for sort of stunted redfin or carp. We want them to be year-round fisheries. Fantastic trout fisheries during the winter, many of them, and awesome cod fishery and yellowbelly fisheries during the summer. One of the things that we'll talk about, or Anthony Forster might chat about, we'll have different regs probably for some of the waters south of the Divide, and we are doing this being mindful that we're not going to disturb other remnant native populations that are there. But it's likely that some of these new waters that we're establishing south of the Divide, we won't have a Murray cod close season on them. We'll keep them open year-round so kids can ride their bike down and fish without feeling guilty they're fishing for cod during a close season, because they are new populations. They're not going to be self-recruiting populations, and it's all about getting people into fishing for cod. Our plan is to get more and more generations of people fishing. And in terms of Target 1 million, and I'm going to chat about this a little bit more, but basically we're confident we've got a lot of Victorians fishing, and in the next 4 years we want to give them more fish to catch and more places to catch them. So things like buying out netting in Port Phillip Bay and buying out netting in the Gippsland Lakes, stocking 10 million fish, opening up access to riverbanks, opening up access on waterways with tinnies, with electric motors and kayaks. It's about giving the million people fishing in Victoria more fish and more places to go and more ability to go and catch fish, which is pretty exciting. So what has contributed towards where we're at right now with fishing in terms of Murray cod and golden perch and where they're at? We can talk about stocking, we can talk about slot sizes, we can talk about bag limits, spring environmental flows that are triggering recruitment and breeding, and Care for Cod campaign. All of these things are contributing to the fishery that we have right now. But I'm going to be a little controversial and say we've still got challenges. So I know the debate about the carp virus was something that really got a bit hijacked, and Barnaby Joyce was running this debate about the carp virus, and then everyone started going a bit south on it, going, oh, well, maybe it might contaminate other fish, maybe the work hasn't been done, maybe we'll go and do another 20 years of research. I fear that with the carp virus we're missing an amazing opportunity while we've got carp down and out, that we really try and knock them about even further. And a couple of things you might know about the carp virus: it is endemic in Europe and Asia, and there is no evidence in those countries that it has spread to any other species. Carp are still there across Europe and Asia. Their numbers are much less. But with the recovery of Murray cod and where we're at the moment, we really need to push hard in terms of this virus, and we need to push the Commonwealth Government hard, because if we can try and break the back of carp even further, people that are concerned that we'll be taking away the food source of Murray cod and yellows and silvers and everything else that's adapted, what we'll see is a return of small-bodied natives, galaxids, gudgeons, smelt in a lot of these waterways, which will again provide that food source. I spent a little bit of time fishing below Wentworth last year, and to me it felt like it was the 80s again. Every bait that went over the side was a 3 kilo carp, and it was carp after carp after carp for a week. And I sort of shuddered thinking, gee, imagine if the Loddon or the Campaspe or the Goulburn returned to that sort of state. So anyway, I'll give that as a bit of food for thought, a bit controversial starting up. This is the other one, and no offence to any farmers that are present, but cattle shouldn't be really in our rivers, right? And it's a challenge that we've got, and we want to work through Catchment Management Authority and authorities and with farmers and landholders. When we're stocking fish, and particularly small fish, they really need that bankside vegetation to get in there and avoid predation, avoid getting eaten early. And also it provides the bugs and the nutrients for a lot of those small fish when they get to come through. Cattle along the riverbanks is a real challenge, and a lot of other countries, they've worked with farmers to fence them off and to provide off-stream watering points. But carp and cattle are two big challenges that I know that we can take on, and I know that we can get there the same way as we have with bag limits, size limits, slot limits, stocking, environmental flows, all the rest of the things that we've done. If we've got a pretty good environment for our fish, they'll generally look after themselves and they'll come through. And we know as fishers it's probably only about 1 in 10 at the moment that are keeping Murray cod. As fishers, we're giving a commitment that we really want to see this fishery rebound. And it is doing that, and it's pretty exciting times. Oh, how did that one get up there? Right, okay. So, a cagey looking bloke. That was caught, that fish was caught about 24 hours ago, about 4 k's from here. And yeah, that did take a bunch of shrimp. And I caught that same cod last year on the same snag. It was about 5 centimetres smaller. And that same fish, it's now 78 centimetres, and it's sitting under the same snag, and it came out and I circle hooked, so it's just been lip hooked. And I love this fish, right, because I've got 3 children, and I know I can take them back to that snag each year now moving forward, and hopefully if everyone does the right thing, that cod's still going to be there. Now, it mightn't bite every time, but it's a fantastic fishery to have. Now, this bloke up here is one of our board members, Yorick. We've spent the last 12 months since this last conference going fishing for Murray cod with lures, right? So we've done a lot of bait fishing over the years, but Yorick came to last year's conference, went and spent $42,000 at Trellies on the night of the conference. Trellies now retired, so and we went out there and we spent full days on the Goulburn casting lures. We were casting them too fast. The river was too high. We didn't know what we were doing, one after the other. But we always got closer. One trip we'd see a cod, but we wouldn't catch it. The next trip we'd have a cod on the line, but we wouldn't catch it. And then sort of this summer it all came good for us, and we've had a couple of really good trips where we've gone out and got 4 or 5 cod in a session and really enjoyed it. But more than that, we've basically just been drifting around the river chatting about life and about what's going on and how things are all travelling. And you'll hear a bit more from Yorick later, but at the moment it's 6'6" on lures and I'm 4 centimetres ahead. That's not important, but I thought I'd just throw that out there. So that's about it. I just want to make sure that everyone today is inspired about their fishing, really feels confident that we're heading in the right direction. You're going to hear a lot of things about our new northern native fishery, which is near Shepparton today. It's a really exciting time. It's the biggest investment in fishing in the last 50 years. You could argue in Victoria's history. And seeing that Snobs Creek is 80 years old and we're about to build a massive new hatchery for cod and for yellows and for catfish, I mean, they are very, very exciting times ahead in fishing. So that's enough from me. I'm going to introduce